Hey there guys, and welcome back to Danganronpa 2, Goodbye Despair. We're about to go to the... They said the last trial, which surprises me. I don't know that I'd buy that, because there were definitely 6 trials in the first game, and this is trial 5. However, I don't know who caused... I have an idea, but... Oh my gosh, it is a very, very, very flimsy idea. I'm going into this trial without really understanding everything that happened, but at the same time, the one thing that kind of keeps me feeling okay about it is that the 5th trial in the first game was the one that Monokuma set up, and there was no real answer. So, the fact that I don't have a real answer this time may be intentional, and there may not be a real answer to be had. So, I do have 2 thoughts, though, that I want to share before I go in. Number 1. I feel like the thing that was causing Nagito to kind of freak out a little bit, the one big question that the revelation of the ultimate imitator really brings up is the fact the ultimate imitator was imitating Byakuya Tagami, who was a person, and he was doing it at the beginning of the game before anyone had any information about Byakuya Tagami. I think it's actually Byakuya Togami. Regardless, we didn't have our memories. We didn't remember the other class, so how the hell did the ultimate imitator imitate someone that no one had any recollection of? It may just be something as simple as that's who he was imitating before, we were abducted, and he just kind of kept going. However, it also could be an indication that unlike everyone else, the ultimate imitator still had his memories. And if you look at it from that lens... Okay, there's a lot of speculation I have going on right now, alright? But remember, I don't believe the Future Foundation is actually everyone's enemies. Monomi's been very positive towards the Future Foundation. Monomi was absolutely been set up as opposed to Monokuma, even more so in Danganronpa's ones, like, school mode or whatever it was called. Monomi was absolutely set up, and a very friendly character there. Additionally, we know that, Monokuma is not part of the Future Foundation, but is part of the World Enders, and it's just, I feel like the Future Foundation is actually a relatively okay group. So it could be that the Ultimate Imposter was the Future Foundation mole, and actually did know what was going on, which is why he was imitating, Byakuya. And as an imitation of Byakuya, he may have actually had Byakuya's memories, and that's why he took on such a, nurturing, kind of patriarchal role in order to try and keep everyone alive. But if, on the other hand, Nagito didn't quite understand all that, he just knew that the imitator was part of the Future Foundation, then he would cast a lot of weird things, because it would really just confuse the issue a lot. And that may be why it was kind of, so spiraling out of control, because I don't really know what he thought of Byakuya, but that may have changed his outlook. I don't have all the answers, but I do feel like that's part of what was triggering the way he was acting. The other thing that I want to say is, I feel like one of the reasons this murder makes so little sense is it's very, very possible that, although it's not a suicide, I think Nagito may have been in on it. Or, you know what? It may have actually been a suicide. It is possible that there was a rope going from his arm right there through an area in which the fire would go, and then up into the rafters, where the rope would eventually drop both the spear and the dagger in order to make the crime scene look like that. I don't really buy it, though. I don't feel like there's enough force to make the dagger go through his hand into the floor. There's no amount of just falling that's going to cause that to happen. But we do know for a fact that I think that's why the rope is burned right there. At the same time, though, again, the fire does not seem to have gotten that close to him, so I don't fully understand it. But it's possible this was a suicide, or more likely, in my opinion, Nagito is working with the killer, because he's offered to several times. He's often said that he is willing to, work with the killer in order to make a really, really good murder. And furthermore, I actually think he may have basically blackmailed the traitor into killing him. He may have basically actually figured out who the traitor was, approached them, outright said, look, I'm going to reveal you at this time unless you kill me. But if you want to kill me, let's make this really good. Why would he do that? Because if he has identified the traitor, and it's only one, I do have to assume there's only one traitor, then by dying here in as convoluted and as difficult a way as possible, he's really going to make the rest of us work hard in order to expose the traitor. If there's only one traitor, the traitor would represent despair, and the rest of us would represent hope. And we would have to struggle, come together as a group in order to expose despair and destroy despair, which would make him a catalyst for the triumph of hope. And I think Nagito would completely be behind that. So, that's my best guess. I don't have a... Unfortunately, like, every piece of evidence I have could apply to just about everyone. My best guess on who the murderer is Sonya. For this very simple reason that I don't really buy Sonya's, oh, I was checking the bombs, because she acted so freaking weird when I caught her in the machine yard. You know, she acted like, oh, I have to finish something up. If all you were doing is checking that the, fireworks weren't there, it wouldn't have taken you as long as it took you. You could plainly see the bed of the truck was empty. So she was definitely doing something she's not talking about. If it's not Sonya, I have to go with Fuyuhiko. And that one is purely because I feel like Fuyuhiko would be willing to torture Nagito in the way we're seeing here. And if it's not Fuyuhiko, my third guess is Akane. Because Akane had, I talked about it before, those are the only three that really had a good way of seeing that, Nagito was moving to where he was and would have actually been able to do it. Akane does not really feel like she would kill him in this way, though, so it doesn't feel like her. She's a distant third guess. I know I didn't do it. I'm fairly sure that Soda didn't do it, because A, he said he's never been to the military base, although granted he could be lying, and B, he was on the second island, which was the one island that Nagito, nobody ever went to. He was completely uninvolved with this case. So there's no reason he would have had any way of going and doing this, because he wouldn't have seen Nagito move. And although, oh my god, not Shidori, what is her name? Chiaki. Although Chiaki was on the fourth island and could have actually seen him, whenever he went to move to, I wouldn't be surprised if Nagito himself got the spear. But whenever whoever got the spear, Chiaki could have seen that. Again, it's odd that would have happened and then she was still at the place. And again, it's like, if Nagito went and got the spear, she wouldn't have followed him back and then murdered him. That doesn't make any sense. So, Chiaki and Soda don't make any sense at all. So, that's what I'm thinking. Let's go into trial and actually see what's happening. I've been rambling for 8 minutes. And it is because I'm so, unsure about things. And I'm trying to... I think a lot of you guys, enjoy watching this because I am so introspective and I really, really, really try and understand things instead of just playing through the game. And it bothers me that I understand as little as I do, so I want to share as much as I can. Looks like everyone's here. Shouldn't there be more people?
Damn it.
Stop it. You're making me depressed. Stupid fool. You're making me depressed. Remind me I'm dead. So... it's going to happen again. The crew conflict where we must doubt our friends. Once we're through this, we can go back, right? That Monokuma bastard said so, didn't he? He said this is the last class trial. But we've been tricked every step of the way. There's no way I can believe that so easily.
Of course not.
Why can't you believe it? The guy who's making us do all this is the one saying it, you know?
You know, right?
That's why I'll definitely survive. If we can really go home after we deal with this class trial.
That's right.
I'll definitely find out who the killer is, no matter what. Or if I have to pull out all the stops.
You...
What the where are you here? Aren't you supposed to be tied out but down below? You haven't realized it yet? I really want to leave the island. Thinking like that is Monokuma's trap, you know?
Huh? Got it?
There's no way Monokuma will end things here. He's planning something far worse. Stop trying to jinx us! Damn right, stupid rabbit, you just shut up! You mustn't run away from despair. I finally realized after losing my powers, that as like cursing your powerlessness or your fate accomplishes nothing. Possibility may be small. As long as there's possibility, you must face it. In order to become someone who can be proud of yourself. So, I will... Haven't you been fighting the Mono Beast this entire time? So, I'll fight.
Huh?
What's her deal? I do not really know, but she seems different from before. Maybe she read a self-help book. Dude, why is your tongue like that? Fix your tongue.
Wait.
But her eyes, she looks so determined.
Ooh.
She was living with determination. And what can you tell us by looking at those button eyes? Anyway, make sure you turn off Minimaru. It'd be annoying if you started talking during the trial.
But still.
I understand what Monomi is saying, I think. Anyway, let's get going to the last class trial.
Yep.
You're right. We need to fight as much as we can. No matter what hopeless truth awaits us in the end. This is the end. I'm saying those words to myself over and over within my mind. I entered Monokuma Rock. We're gonna Monokuma Rock and roll the place. The power of the Monokuma face. God damn, down to 6. This elevator ride is gonna be the last time for this too. Is this a different scene, or do they really have all the survivors? Because I know in Danganronpa 1, the scene of us, you know, descending or going to the class trial was the same scene every time, and they just took out who wasn't there. But I can't imagine they had all of the last 6 all clustered toward the front when this started. They must have a different one drawn every time.
Well,
Let's worry about things after we're finished.
you are right.
More importantly, we must focus on the class trial before us. What is in front of me? It almost looks like I have a long ponytail, but I'm pretty sure I don't. The killer managed to kill someone like Nagito. There's no way this is going to go smoothly. I mean, I still can't believe one of us was able to do that. Nagito was problematic in many ways. He was also a valuable asset during the trials. Yeah, you're right. In fact, during the Funhouse ordeal, we completely depended on him. But even if he's gone, the ones who survived need to stand and fight. We must fight. And then, the door slowly opened. This bright light greeting us. Is that the light of hope? Or the light of despair? Despair doesn't have a light. What the?
Well now.
You remodeled? Well then, now that Chatterbox Nagito is gone, there's only 6 of you left.
Shut the hell up!
Enough. Let's fucking start this already.
Hey!
Is this really the last class trial, right?
Yep.
Yep, it sure is. So you gotta show some enthusiasm. Make sure you give it your all.
All right!
Didn't I tell you? He said it. This is the end. But did he make it a rule?
Now then.
Well, let's get this trial started.
Viva killing!
This is the last class trial. Let's show some enthusiasm and kill each other. This is the 5th class trial. For Monokuma, this is also the last class trial. Yeah, you notice how they restated that. The curtain's about to rise. Nagito Komata, the ultimate lucky student. When I first met him, I thought he was a nice guy. He came across as very sociable. His true nature held such a demented thought process, nothing like his outward appearance. He said he believed in hope more than anything else. He said he was yearning for a powerful hope that could overcome any despair. He said he'd even help despair just to prove that hope would never lose to it. And he said he'd become a stepping stone for hope. His way of thinking was completely screwed up. But There were times he saved us. Someone like him was killed. That was the end of him. And I have no idea at all who did it. But... so those three are still alive. Yeah, it is. It's definitely the people in red are the ones who are already dead. Red's dead. Just like Zed. We will be consumed by despair if we end this without knowing. I kind of forgot to read the line. Whoops. Wow. Poor Chiaki was the only one on her page. That's why. We absolutely have to find out. The person who finished off Nagito. The killer who murdered Nagito. When we return from despair alive, we need to reveal the truth. I feel like the killer should be on page 1 then. Just because there's only 2 on page 3 and only like 1 on page 2, so there's a 50% chance it's on page 1. And Monokuma says this really is the last trial. It's all the more reason we need to do this. And so, life-ending trial building with hope and despair. The last one has begun. I was so bad at unlocking these. Wow. Still did not get any of them. I have 30 points left. Difficulty is still on mean? Yes. I never change it, but if it's going to give me the option to verify it right there, why would I not take that?
Now then, let's begin with a simple explanation of the class trial. During the class trial, you will present your arguments for who the killer is, and vote for whodunit.
I still love so much that they... I don't know why, but the word whodunit there just absolutely throws me. And you know what? I bet I can turn this up some. Okay. I realized that the game sounds were really, really short. I'm glad I realized this early, because it would have been bad if I didn't.
If you vote correctly, then only the blackened will receive punishment. But if you pick the wrong person...
because, man, the voice acting in Trials definitely needs to be heard.
I'll punish everyone besides the blackened, and that person will earn the right to leave this island. Oh my, Monami? My cute little sister? You're awfully quiet. What's happened to you? You've ascended the ladder of adulthood and reached the moon? Because you're a rabbit?
What? Yes, rabbits live on the moon.
Chesto!
Chesto? That's her face, not her chest.
One more time! Jeez! How about this one?
Poor Monokuma. He's like, we have a certain procedure here and you're not following it.
This will be my final blow!
Oh, they actually had the get in there.
It's useless.
Please stop. I feel bad for Monomi.
Monokuma, you kind of broke her.
You're right. Now's not the time for me to horse around with Monami. The class trial has started, after all. The victim this time is Nagito, who is attempting to reveal the traitor for everyone's sake. Who in the world killed him? I'm so curious.
If he was killed for trying to reveal the traitor, that traitor is obviously the killer. They were trying to shut Nagito up.
Or, oh, I wonder if it... Cause I don't even think about this, but it could possibly just be Monokuma directly, because we already talked about that very often, or reasonably often, the, fifth trial, it actually was Monokuma that did it in the first game.
No, that might not be it.
Huh? Are you trying to protect the traitor? They didn't call out when we were in danger. Wait. Don't tell me you're the traitor.
We're already playing this game?
Don't say something so stupid. There's no way in hell I'm the traitor.
Now that's more like it. Why don't you guys hurry and start arguing already?
Well, they already are if you shut up. The traitor. The killer who murdered Nagito. They're both here, right? Well, I shouldn't say both. I have a bad habit of doing that. Sometimes I'll, like, ad-lib the lines slightly. Are they the same person? Or... oh, jeez.
The killer didn't take Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
So that's why he was so beat up. What were they trying to find out by torturing him? Definitely the bomb's hiding place. If so, the suspect is whoever found the bomb first.
That was Fuyuhiko.
I found it by coincidence. There's no way I'd torture someone.
Okay, that's not what I wanted. Okay, let's... what is Monokuma's account? Monokuma knew all along the bombs were fake, however, apparently never revealed this fact to anyone. Why did the killer have to torture Nagito? Would it be caused by torture in the first place?
The killer didn't take Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
Whoa!
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
Freaking idiot!
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
So that's why he was so beat up. What were they trying to find out by torturing him? Definitely the bomb's hiding place. If so, the suspect is whoever found the bomb first.
That was Fuyuhiko.
No, 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 no. God dang it. There it
Found it
is.
by coincidence.
Okay, so the torture runes say what? 'Cause I'm not... and each time you know what? We've been moving. His thighs were also covered with a lot of stab wounds. And the Monokuma plushie...
There's no way I'd torture someone.
I get the Monokuma plushie seems to have nothing to do with anything.
The killer didn't take Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
So that's why he was so beat up. What were they trying to find out by torturing him?
Oh my gosh, I'm already terrible at this
Definitely
off
the bomb's
trial.
hiding place. If so, the suspect is whoever found the bomb first.
That was Fuyuhiko.
I found it by coincidence. There's no way I'd torture someone.
Can I support the coincidence? Okay. Oh, I forgot this part. Use about to cover with duct tape, however, the blood that was splattered onto his... Okay, the duct tape says they weren't torturing for information. That's right.
The killer didn't take Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
Where's duct tape? There it is.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
No, that's wrong.
There we go. Took me forever to actually figure out how to get out of that, but...
But Nagito's mouth was covered with duct tape, so he wouldn't have been able to confess anything. If he was being tortured for information, they wouldn't have taped his mouth like that.
I'm prepared.
Oh, it's one of these.
Ah, I just realized it. It's a trap.
Trap?
Stupid Hajime. You got caught in that trap.
I got caught in that trap. Stupid. I don't.
Like you said, if Nagito's mouth was taped shut, you'd obviously assume he couldn't talk, right? But that was the trap. He wanted to hide the fact that he got interrogated.
I can't back down!
Awesome.
But if you tape his mouth shut, how is he supposed to answer anything?
Pay attention. This is how at first the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb's location. Then, after they killed him, they duct taped his mouth shut. Whew, that was close, you guys. Thanks to me, you guys didn't get caught in the trap.
They taped his mouth shut after getting information from. That sounds reasonable. That clearly contradicts the truth.
Pay attention. This is how it went down. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb's location. Then,
Allow me to cut through those words!
Wow, that's funny. I got the wrong one, but I still broke it.
No, there's no doubt Nagito's mouth was covered with duct tape before he was beat up.
what did you say?
Who cares about the duct tape? You might as well settle this with rock, paper, scissors.
We're not figuring out whether we live or die based on rock, paper, scissors.
We don't need to play a game. It's clear the duct tape was on his mouth before the torture even began.
Why do you always side with Hajime? You have a crush on him or something?
Not everything's about sex. I understand you don't understand that, though. Are you in elementary school or something?
You were with us when I peeled the duct tape off Nagito's mouth, right? The blood on Nagito's face wasn't under the duct tape, remember?
The blood on his face came from his arm wounds, which means the duct tape was on his face before his arms were even wounded.
And the duct tape had a lot of crinkles around his mouth. He must have been struggling to open his mouth under the duct tape.
Perhaps the duct tape was used so we wouldn't be able to scream. Then it's like I said at the beginning. The tape wasn't for torture. It was to keep his mouth shut.
That is a really creepy grin to have while you're talking about torturing someone, Fuyuhiko. Just saying.
However, if they wanted to seal his mouth, they did not need to hurt him with such ferocity.
They probably had a deep grudge against Nagito.
Then, are you saying the killer was trying to make him suffer?
That's my guess too, but it still is very weird. And
If so, friggin' crazy. Did they go psycho or something?
No, they didn't just go crazy. Whoever did this must be one crafty bastard. If not, they wouldn't have taken the time to set fire to the crime scene and destroy all the evidence.
The warehouse fire was for destroying evidence?
that is certainly my guess.
Can't think of any other reason.
But who could have done that? When the fire occurred, everyone in this room was gathered in front of the warehouse.
Yeah, the panels fell and hit the lighter.
Yeah. And right after I opened the warehouse door, the flames started burning from the very back.
Which means, it is plausible to think that nobody here set the fire.
Not really.
The killer isn't one of us. But that's not the case, huh? I mean, it's wishful thinking.
Even if it was only a coincidence, the timing was just too perfect.
Based on the pattern up until now, we should suspect that some kind of setup was used for this.
Absolutely.
Some kind of setup? Like what?
I do not know that, but that has been the pattern before.
That's our Miss Sonia. You have such an amazingly high intellect. Alrighty then, let's think about this based on what Miss Sonia thinks. Is that okay, Miss Sonia?
Damn right it is!
Use it for the fire, huh? Then right, we need to clear that up first. This is probably going to be the Monokuma panels.
The direct cause of the fire was the oil lighter found at the crime scene, right?
The killer used some kind of setup. He lit the curtain on fire with the lighter.
Some kind of setup?
Did they use the oil as an improvised fuse?
They probably just threw the lighter.
Based on the shape of that oil lighter, it can stand upright while the flame is lit.
If they tipped over the lighter in some way, it could have ignited the curtain.
Some way?
Maybe they used invisible thread.
Crap!
Okay, I guess I have to wait longer.
The cause of the fire was the oil lighter found at the crime scene, right?
The killer used some kind of lit the curtain on fire with some kind of setup? Did they use the oil as they probably just threw it based on the shape of that it can stand upright? If they tipped over the light,
It could have ignited the curtain.
Okay.
Some way?
Maybe they used invisible thread.
There should have been a way to tip it over with sound waves.
God dang it!
Crap!
the direct cause of the fire, the oil lighter found at the
I just saw, like, tip it over, and I was like, yes!
They probably just threw it based on the shape of that it can stand upright. If they tipped over the light, it could have ignited the... Some way?
Maybe they used
Invisible thread. There should have been a way to tip
Tip it over with sound...
Or perhaps opening the door caused.
There we go. I had it, I just kept waiting for the right thing to come up, and I kept not really reading it, because I was so ready. So ready.
I also agree that opening the door is what started the fire.
Just as I thought, it was the wind pressure. A dust devil blown here from glorious Japan.
No, not wind pressure. They probably used the Monokuma panels. A huge number of tipped-over Monokuma panels were found at the crime scene. Right?
Yeah, that one I figured out
It
for
looked
sure.
like they were scattered everywhere, but some were laying on top of each other in a single line. Just a single line leading from the warehouse door to the fire's origin.
Does that mean anything?
Well, yeah, obviously. It means that when the door was opened, one Monokuma was holding it shut, and then when we forced it open, it fell forward and knocked down the domino effect, going back and eventually knocked over the lighter and started the
The
fire.
killer probably arranged those Monokuma panels to create a domino effect.
Exactly. I forgot to say what I did know about how the murder actually happened. I just talked about who the killer was. So I'm trying to say it before they do, to just show what I know and show what I didn't.
domino effect. You mean those tiles kids play with by lining them up and tipping them over?
In place of those tiles, the killer used the Monokuma panels. So when we opened the warehouse door, the first panel toppled into the second. And from there, they fell like dominoes until they reached the lighter at the end.
That's interesting. I had not previously noted that how far the Monokuma plushie was forward. So that kind of sets a limit to how big the fire could have been.
But wouldn't it be obvious that those big panels were falling over?
That's probably why they turned off the lights in the warehouse, so we wouldn't notice them.
So the reason the warehouse was dark was to hide the domino effect.
And one more thing. There was something else the killer did to hide the domino
Yeah, the
effect,
music.
right?
I see!
Yep. Got that one.
You're talking about the MP3 player, right? That hymn blaring throughout the warehouse masked the sound of the falling panels.
I was trying to listen because someone said the hymn was actually saying something, but I'm not making it out. Hey, do you guys hear something? Yeah, it's really damn loud. Does Nigga like listening to this depressing crap? No, I'm not talking about the music.
That's it. So the strange sound was actually the sound of the panels falling.
That's certainly what it seems like.
Those sounds weren't the only strange thing, right? Looking back on it, it was also strange when we opened the door to the warehouse.
I remember what happened.
Ah, so the door was being blocked by a Monokuma panel. And when we opened the door, the domino effect started, and the falling panels eventually reached the lighter.
Yeah, and that's how the warehouse caught on fire. At least, that's how it looks.
You don't look so sure.
Yeah, is that not what happened?
At the time, Akane mentioned that she could barely open the door.
Because the panel was blocking it, right?
A panel does seem awfully flimsy to be stopping the door
It's a
from opening.
blocked doorway. There wasn't enough space for a person to fit through, right?
Oh.
Is that a problem?
It's a major problem. I mean, that door was the only entrance to the warehouse.
If that door is only enters the warehouse.
I see!
Yeah, the killer couldn't have gotten out.
If the panel was so close to the door that it could barely be opened, the killer inside the warehouse wouldn't be able to leave, right?
Now that you mention it.
Does that mean they were hiding inside?
But all 6 of us were outside.
We were all outside the warehouse, you know.
Based on the patterns up until now, I believe some kind of setup was used.
You don't have to think so hard. There's actually only one person who could have possibly done this.
Monokuma or Minomi.
You don't mean...
Yeah, she's talking about Nagito.
Hajime? What do you mean?
And next episode, we will talk about the possibility of suicide. Is certainly what it looks like. So, I will see you then. Thank you very much for tuning in. See, the next episode will be up at the top of the hour.